This is kvci.blogspot.com. I'm George Boston Rhymes in Valdosta, Georgia on YouTube, Boston G.B.R. I'm out here today because I just received notification that the Quitman 10 case would be going to trial. They have been indicted. We also find that in today's Valdosta Daily Times that 2 additional people was added to the Quitman 10. And so now the Quitman 10 is highlighted as, I guess, the Quitman 12. The reason I'm here because I went and rode through Quitman yesterday and I looked in the Quitman Free Press and I was hoping that they would have had something about the upcoming trial on Monday at 9 o'clock, wherein United States congressional staffer and aide of Sanford Bishop is to be tried in the Brooks County courthouse. But I didn't see anything in the Quitman Free Press. And I have been saying for decades that there seemed to be a consistent pattern and practice of keeping the general public either misinformed or deaf, dumb, and blind at times and unable to make an intelligent decision based on facts. I was going to cut a long, in-depth video concerning the Quitman 10 and my perspective concerning what I perceive to be a practical whiteout of the situation concerning the Quitman 10 here in South Georgia. However, I got sidestepped, sidetracked, or whatever by today's Valdosta Daily Times, an article that was written concerning the indictments and the additional 2 people that are now added to the Quitman 10. But most noteworthy is that I understand that they say additional charges was brought against the Quitman 10. Also, the 2 additional people, the feds did not pick up the case, but referred it back down to the district attorney and those who are going to prosecute the case. Now, what is in the paper that I'm cutting this clip for, and it will be brief. This is only a highlight. And I want to get this up as soon as possible because I want you all to know exactly what is happening with the Quitman 10, what is happening here in South Georgia, Valdosta, and the whole surrounding area. We need help down here in South Georgia. Now, the Valdosta Daily Times reported, and my name is mentioned, and this is the reason I'm cutting this particular video. This will be video 1. It says that Mr. Thomas, by the way, is a retired Brooks County school teacher. He is also on the Brooks County Board of Education, and they reference what he said. But down further on page 4A in the Valdosta Daily Times, our only daily newspaper, reads, George Boston Rhymes of Valdosta has been following the case, which means the Quitman 10 case, not the Quitman 12, and has heard stories from community about G.B.R, Georgia Bureau Investigation intimidation. Now, Mr. Thomas, Frank Thomas, is on the Board of Education in Brooks County, and he agreed with me, and this is what the Time reporter said. We said that Frank Thomas said, we are a majority, but we are a fair majority, said Thomas. All of us are current educators or retired educators. These are top-notch people in the community that are highly respected. Now, Mr. Frank Thomas is talking about the Quitman 10. I'm going to give you a complete history or my account of what I felt was being kept away from the general public by our South Georgia news media. I want to show the credentials of the Brooks County 10. I want you to be able to look at their record, look at their accomplishments. I'm not going to portray them as criminals before they go to court. And so what I have already done on kvci.blogspot.com, also on YouTube, Boston G.B.R, just Google Quitman 10, and you will find out a lot of what is not mentioned even in this article is what many of us heard. You may have heard on the streets of Quitman, on the streets of Valdosta. But I am willing to invite the Valdosta Daily Times to actually walk with me to people in Brooks County and let them tell their stories about how they feel and believe and experience how the G.B.R., Georgia Bureau of Investigation, allegedly intimidated them. Now, the Times said George Boston Rhymes has heard. Not only have I heard about the intimidation, there was a G.B.R. agent, I am told, I don't know, I don't live there, but they called me about a G.B.R. agent in a white truck that really intimidated the citizens of Brooks County. Now, all of this has been kept away from the news media and the general public. Why? I don't know. TV station, radio, and newspapers, in my most humble opinion, and I followed this case pretty good, I have not seen it published about the elderly people being intimidated by the G.B.R. They came with guns on their side. This intimidates a lot of elderly black folk in the black community based upon the historical history that black folks have had to face in Brooks County and in other areas in the southern area of Georgia. Now, I have people that have told me that they were so intimidated that they refused to go back to the polls to vote. Let me correct that. A pastor from Valdosta, I got his name, I'm not going to release it here because I don't want to, and we walked the streets of Brooks County. And while walking the streets in Quitman, there were people who said and pointed out houses of individual people that were asked questions that were similar to the questions in terms of how many bubbles in a bottle. How many, all this ridiculous question that they asked back in the 60s during the Civil Rights era. They would ask questions like that. Now, I know an elected official who said that some of the parents was asked where their children and grandchildren were in Valdosta, and for them to meet them between Brooks County and Valdosta or Lowndes County to talk with the G.B.R. Now, whether this is true or not, I don't know. But I do believe under our form of government that somebody should have investigated the Quitman 10, and they did that. But the question is, did they investigate the common, ordinary black voters who say that the G.B.R. intimidated them? Now, in addition, if they investigated the black community in terms of casting absentee ballots, because there was a spike in the number of absentee ballots that was cast for the black candidates, then should not the same investigation been conducted in the white community for the white people who voted for the white candidates? Now, that may not make sense to you, but a man of average intelligence, retired from the United States Armed Forces for 20 years, had my own business for 20 years, outspoken in the community, been published in many newspapers across the country, had received recognition from 3 former presidents on certain things that I have done and written. Now, I believe that there should have been an investigation across the board. Maybe it was, but we don't know nothing about it. But these are valid questions that people are asking. So I'm going to close this clip out, but I'm going to show you before it's over. I'm going to show you all of the information that I kept track of. For instance, there was various meetings wherein the Quitman 10 got support from Senator Robert Brown, the historical civil rights legend Tyrone Brooks. They traveled to Atlanta, got recognition. They traveled to Macon, got recognition. They traveled to Savannah, got support and recognition. And all of this good information about the Quitman 10. They had over 200 people over in Walker Street Auditorium. And all of these events was ignored by the press in South Georgia and North Florida. Therefore, George Boston Rhymes, that's me, the same person they mentioned in the Valdosta Daily Times, and say, I heard that the G.B.R. intimidated people. I want to close this out by saying to you, not only have I heard, I leave you with a question. Can the Quitman 10 get justice here in the South Georgia? Can they receive justice under the whole Southern judiciary? Wherein I haven't seen no black judges sitting on the bench. Now, black don't make it right, but right make it right. And so I'm saying to you, I question if they can I want to even know how the grand